got someone living out. We got someone living out right now. Can you believe it? It's Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. And she tweeted this, and she's getting a lot of flack for it. But she doesn't care. She don't care. So here's the tweet. Let's talk about it. I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. It's so weird. Like, if you get called a birthing person to your face, would like, let's talk about first the implication that she, like, the thing that she's saying is that someone called her a person with a uterus, birthing person, or a person who menstruates. Let's steel man it and say people are just they're replaced the word woman with these things. This is a case of self-identity. What you're talking about is being able to self-identify as a woman, which I think Anna Kasparian would agree is a good thing that people can do. And this is the argument that trans people are making, is we can self-identify. What these terms are not to describe a woman. These don't describe women at all. That's the point. Woman is a different thing than these things. No one is substituting person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates for woman. This is where it falls apart for everybody. No one's doing this. This is not what people mean. Oftentimes, this is just language that people use to make sure that the language remains inclusive of people in pregnancy situations. Like, I whistled, my bad. People who are pregnant, like a person who menstruates, like, this just describes someone in like a medical sense. When we're talking about like menstruation at large, we're not talking about women specifically, because those aren't the only people who need menstruation care. You feel me, Anna? When we're talking about a birthing person, these are usually not just in spaces where they're talking about fucking someone having a baby. Like, if they're like, oh, Anna had a baby, oh, she's a birthing person now? No? That's not how anyone has ever reacted. Not even the wokiest wokers that I've ever been around ever in my life. And I'm pretty, look, hey, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but you could say I'm a wokie. I get accused of some wokiness every once in a while. We don't use these terms for anybody. These are like medical people terms, and it's only when talking broadly about these subjects do these things come up. And it's usually only in discussions of like reproductive health, person with a uterus. Like, we use these terms in discussions about like maintaining Roe v. Wade, not if Anna Kasparian's having a fucking kid, which I don't think she is. So I don't think anyone's ever referred to her as that. A person with a uterus is what you are. You are a person with a uterus, but you are also a woman. A person with a uterus is not necessarily a woman. This is what the point is. No one is substituting these terms. Again, big wokey over here. There's pride flags above my head. I'm such a wokey. Wow, such a virtue signal, guys. I have some trans friends. I'll have you know. Birthing person. No one's using these terms really, unless we're talking about groups at large, in which case they're just accurate. Your issue is with accuracy. How do people not realize how degrading this is? Let's talk about degradation. Yeah, if you don't want to be called something and someone calls you that, sure, then that's fine. You don't have to be called that. But when someone's saying, I'm trying to imagine the situation that she's even fucking talking about. I don't know. Joe Biden goes on stage or something. I don't know. Someone the anti-wokers hate a lot. Joe Biden, Smoking Joe. He goes up and he goes, hey, birthing people deserve health care. And Anna Kasparian's like, that's me. I'm a woman, though. There's no degradation involved. I don't understand. I do not realize how degrading calling a broad community people who menstruate. Like, I'm trying to figure out who this is even referencing. They have the right to speak their piece, as do I. Going with the Zuby stuff. This isn't even being like roasting. She just doesn't know. You can support the transgender community without doing the shit. Without doing what shit? I actually don't know what she's appealing to. I know it's medical language, but this is the kind of kid who says, well, technically it's Thursday because it's after midnight. What? No. This is just... She's appealing to not being... No one's calling singular people birthing persons in exchange for the word woman. That's not what's happening. GPA boost. You gotta come on and talk about this. Or that's it, man. You can't keep getting away with it.
It has the juice?
I just call her a broad? No? What? Using broad terms for people to describe groups of people? Are you listening? I'm not surprised. I'm drunk though? No way!
Fantastic day.
No way! You're saying dumb shit while drunk? That's fucking crazy. The pseudo-sapien, thanks for the 53 months! No one has called her a birthing person or menstruator. No one talks like this. Like, this is just a fucking made-up thing. She's imagining that people are, like, replacing these words in woke spaces. At best, it's her liberal friends. At best. You're talking, like, a liberal fucking rich person co-opting what they think is, like, woke language. You don't want to be called a meat sack. What does that have to do with the fucking conversation? That is so fucking dumb and wrong. AFAB? People use AFAB for these conversations. When someone says a person who menstruates, they're talking about the topic of menstruation and are just being inclusive when they talk about it. They're not talking about a woman. Because that's not describing a woman. That's describing a person who menstruates, who may or may not be one. Yes, if someone uses the broad term people who menstruate, because they don't use person who menstruates, or they might, but they mean people, right? Like they may give a hypothetical, like imagine a person who menstruates not being able to get the health care they need, right? Instead of saying imagine people who, because that's all, it's appealing to like a royal sort of the idea, the concept of this person, right? Which is obviously not a singular individual that is being replaced with the fucking term. This is just lib bullshit, dude. I also respect someone's choice to not want to be called person who menstruates. No one is calling her a person who menstruates. I don't understand why. Like, yes, I agree. I already said that. No. No, she's appealing. She is appealing to the idea of being called that. No one is calling singular individuals people who menstruate instead of just calling them women. The conversations are always around, like... Also, not for nothing, the more important topic about this, the more important discussion to be having about this, instead of talking a fucking GPA boost while he's drunk... Just saying dumb shit in my chat again. Dumbass. God, dude. Is that she's co-opting transphobic rhetoric to fucking, like, bitch about this. This is just TERF language. Like, this is straight up just TERF language. Like, in the middle of dozens of anti-trans bills being passed, like she's deciding right now, this is where I'm sticking my flag in. It's a bad look. She deserves the flack. Like, it's not only the wrong time, it's not even like, she'd be wrong in any time. It's just more wrong now. I missed your bits, but I'm saying the same thing. See? Where are they? I didn't hear them go. Where are they? Were you above? No, you're... Okay, yeah. It's just transphobic dog whistling, being like, only real women like me have these things. There's no need to include the terms. Not for you and Anna to include others. That's what I mean. Like, no one's describing cis women, right? This is to include non-cis people in the conversation, and only when we're talking about, like, menstruation. We're talking about birth, right? We're talking about some other healthcare issue involving the uterus. Like, these are the only times these things happen. Like, normally, if it's someone like... If it's a cis person, you almost never make a qualifier. You're like, oh, that's just a lady, and it's a lady. And then if you're trying to make sure you're being accurate because it's like a medical issue, like sometimes these words happen, but we don't like. This is just like it's vague gesture posting. Like it's just the wokies do not talk like this just day to day. I have never ever heard this straw man of the left that they purport is happening in any space. Sometimes you might hear someone say birthing person, but they're talking about like medicine. It's a post about fucking medicine. Like, birthing persons have less access to healthcare in Texas after this bill is like, not fucking Anna Kasparian do anything. Like, it's just the language of a birthing person. Like, it's the idea of, like, stamping someone with the label birthing person instead of woman. Like, that's not what's happening. Like, for the most part, people use terms like AFAB or AMAB to describe what you're saying because it's cleaner. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, there's so many problems with just this part of it. It's like, first of all, this isn't an issue. Second of all, the people that use it aren't talking about, like, Anna Kasparian, a singular person. They're not like, oh, look at this birthing person, instead of saying woman. They don't do that. Or mother. Like, it's only when including multiple people in the conversation that this happens. And then it doesn't have to do anything with you. You feel me? Lots of people aren't comfortable being referred to as what they were assigned rather than what they are. Seems like an issue with being annoyed how someone else refers to you. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like only if you have a drool brain does this appeal to you in any way. Like, you just don't understand the conversation if this is where you're at with it. Degrading. It's so weird latching on to this TERF idea. Like, the structure of this, I'm a woman, don't refer to me as these things, implies heavily that people are using person with a uterus in exchange for woman. And that is not the case. Almost every person described with a person with a uterus is explicitly not a woman. Almost all of them. That's what the term is for non-women with uteruses. For non-womens that are birthing. For non-women who are menstruating. It's explicitly not replacing the fucking term. Like, it's just brain dead. Lib brains. Sometimes, man. I don't know how they get to these points. How do they think themselves into these little weird... Like, there's so many things that goes on with it. Number one, to me, it's like, why do you give a fuck? And then number two is, like, the give a fuck must be that she misunderstands what these terms are for. So she just doesn't understand the conversation. Number three, doesn't sound like she's very interested in hearing the conversation. Don't know. Anyway, libs doing the rights
It
work
has
for
to
them.
do.
Name a more iconic duo. You know what, Anna? That conversation is not about you, girl, but you go in and make that conversation about you, even if it emboldens the worst people. Literally, yeah. It's not about her, and she made it about her. It's so weird. Like, here, let me go back in. Let's just go through a few of these comments. The Zuby thing, of course. This guy's a right-wing weirdo. My wife shares the same opinion. I'm sure a lot of women don't want to be minimized to a bodily function or body part. That is not what these terms are used for. These terms are used specifically in discussions of these what did you say? Bodily functions and body parts. In conversations about these body functions and bodily functions and parts. That's when these terms come up. It's not reducing them to it. It's discussions of those parts. Wild. Reduced. Fucking wild. I agree. I like Juniper. Anyway, it doesn't make sense to me. It's so weird that, like, when you're a big wokey like your boy, okay, but you don't have any of the other stuff that goes along with it because I'm just a straight cishet, people are so fucking riled up by me on this kind of stuff from the right. Like, they don't know how to act because they're like, oh, you got pronouns in your body, little freak. And I'm like, I'm cis and straight. I'm like, oh, you gay? Nope, I'm straight. Oh, what are you fucking gender guy? Like, I didn't take any gender studies, bro. I just my politic on this is very simple. Like, the language that we're using here is to describe a certain person. Woman, man, like, no gender can describe the physical attribute of having these pieces, right? Whatever pieces you may have. You can say a person with a dick. That's fine too. Person with testes, if you need to. Because people with testes have different medical needs than people without them. And vice versa. Like, it just sometimes applies. And it isn't inclusive language to say men. Because that's not what people mean. That's it. I do not feel as though my manhood is ripped away if someone were to refer to me in a medical sense as a person with a dick. I could absolutely understand if what I assume is the experience of people that have bad experiences with that is right-wing people using it sarcastically and liberal people using it incorrectly. And that's okay. I mean, that's going to happen. I don't use these terms ever because I'm never talking about this subject, really. Like, I guess with the abortion stuff, we talk about it sometimes, but then sometimes we default to mothers anyway because a lot of it circles around cis women's health. But it's not only about that. So if the discussion moves to not only about that, sometimes that language will come up, but then it's not like saying that the women involved aren't women and they are only reduced to these parts. It's saying that we're just trying to find language to describe both parties. Like, people who aren't women who have uteruses and people who are women that have uteruses. People who have uteruses seems to be the Venn diagram center. Like, don't be so fucking fragile about it. I don't know, dude. It's so weird. It's so weird to get riled about this specific issue of self-identity while shitting on trans people in a discussion about trans people in which self-identity and the acceptance of that is like the point. Hey, uterus haver. I mean, this isn't a scenario. Like, it seems to be, and this seems to be the case often, if I can conceive of a person that could exist, then the thing is bad. If that were the case, then capitalism wouldn't ever be implemented. Could I conceive of a greedy person that would exacerbate the capitalist system in a negative way? Oh yeah, I could. Well, that's strange. I guess we should just leave it as is, you know? I don't know, dude. My mom also doesn't have a uterus. She got that out. She had to. What was the big waste of time, Doodaloo? Seen posts from both sides say that. Seriously? Wait, what are we talking about? Most people wouldn't, but I know some stupid extremists who... I don't know what we're talking about. I'm not some stupid chud, so I know my likelihood of you wanting to have me on is quite a bit lower, but you offered earlier. No, I'll have you on. I mean, I don't agree with you in your assessment
It has to do.
of yourself, but that's okay. It's amazing how Anna almost understands. A broken clock. I think you're an embarrassment to this country and full-blown lunatic. I mean, that's good. Obviously, I think she thinks Carrie Lake is dumb. I don't think Anna Kasparian is like a fucking Republican now. Although I would not be surprised to find the liberals on their bullshit at some point. And coalition voting against social progress with right-wingers to make a deal elsewhere. We've talked before, GPA boost. You jump on the live stream chat. Just go to the Discord and get in voice. You silly goose. All right. So I guess we're going to have a discussion about that. She's a coward liberal now. I mean, are you bird god, bro? All right, you're here.
Hi, Jake. Good talking to you.
Oh, let me... Oops.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm turning you up. That should be good.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Making chili and coming down off the... I know I admittedly said I was drunk earlier, but now I'm down to a level of tipsy or
Just down to it from that?
Yeah, you know...
Well, I'm going to get higher.
Who would have thought that 10 minutes would have done me some good?
That's okay. All right. So we've seen your take.
Well, I got some points that you might agree with. Right. I don't find TERF language acceptable.
I mean, yeah.
Agreed?
That's easy.
Inclusivity is good. Yeah. Given the bills that some of the state legislatures are firing off, yes, Anna's comments are bad.
Okay.
Yes, most people aren't referring to Anna herself. This is a fair point. This is not like people when they're saying birthing person or person with uterus. They're saying, yes, you, Anna.
Right.
However, for as progressive as Anna is, I think this is maybe an okay take because I feel like this might fall into a category of you only align with me on 99.9% of my leftist values, therefore you are a traitor to the cause.
That's not what you were saying in chat, but that's a new argument. But yeah, we can have
that. Do we think Anna's transphobic? Maybe I would say no, but maybe the language.
Do I think Anna's transphobic? No, I think this helps transphobes. Because what she's done is she's fallen into, and you have too, you've fallen into the idea that this is like a quality thought to have. And
like, this is a useful idiot.
Yes.
Gotcha. It can be reducing.
Like, I don't think
someone.
I want to be clear. I don't think her intention is transphobic, but I do think that the result is essentially transphobic. So you might see people saying that's transphobic, but that's what they mean. Is they mean that it helps.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we think Anna's transphobic, but yeah, she might be helping transphobes.
I don't think I don't think she's ideologically
And again,
transphobic.
it can only be exacerbated by the fact that many state legislatures, including my own, I'm in Texas, are trying to pass bills that are trying to fucking ruin things for trans people. Let's put that aside for now.
Yeah, is that push to talk? What I'm hearing?
Yeah, sorry, you're hearing like a little beep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm only gonna be here for another couple minutes, so sorry to
You're good.
make you hear it out. I think it can be reducing someone to refer to them as their bodily function. If I got labeled as some sort, someone called me like a semen maker, I think I might be a little peeved.
Okay.
I mean, even if that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
But that's like more crass than the terms that we're describing, right? And the just like would you agree that in the way that these terms are often used in medical situations, people that like people with testes would be a viable term to have around, say, a sperm clinic?
Sure. Yeah.
So this is where these terms take place. They're not taking place in the fucking street next to Anna Kasparian's house. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I mean, I agree with you on that.
Okay, so,
and then,
so she's appealing to the idea of being able to be termed as one of these people.
What are you? Some
feel
fucking gender guy?
That's what I mean.
I'm making a joke of what you said earlier.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a gender guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, you were joking about earlier about what Chuds would refer to you as a gender guy.
Yeah, yes. I've literally been called a pronoun man.
Yeah, there you go, pronoun man. All right, man. It was good talking to you. I just wanted to come on and make points. Yeah, that was it. Like I said, I'm not going to be dragged over the coals by your chat. But hey, some of your chat likes
over the coals.
Some of your chat seems to like the idea of being called semen maker. So we're going to start that off now.
I mean, they can. Yeah, it's self-identity, man. All right, have a good night.
All right, good talking to you, Jake.
Later. So, can I conceive of someone being offended by being called, you're just a walking womb? Yes. So that would be a different experience than Anna Kasparian would have had.